All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Town Hall. We're going to get things going. Today is Monday, January 12th. We're here for our regularly scheduled Town Council meeting. It's soon after 7:30 p.m. Our first order of business, as always, is Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda is the land acknowledgement statement. The town of South Kingstown pays homage to the indigenous people and land in which the town is now located. Let this acknowledgement serve as a reminder of our ongoing efforts to recognize, honor, reconcile, and partner with the Narragansett tribe whose land and water we benefit from today. Next, we have the roll call.
Council President McEntee.
Here.
Council Vice President Marin.
Here.
Councilmember Bergner. Here. Councilmember Ali.
Here.
Councilmember Wedgemont.
Here.
All members are present.
Thank you. It's going to move us to item 4, approval of minutes of previous meetings. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve items 4A, B, and C.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. It's going to bring us to item 5, appointments. We're going to go right to item B.
Motion to approve a resolution reappointing William Wallace III as the tree warden for the town of South Kingstown for the year 2026.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just a quick comment. This has been pending on the council's agenda a couple of times, and it's been hanging. We needed to get it done. It is a reappointment. He's been doing the job.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. It's now going to bring us to item 6, the consent agenda.
Motion to approve item 6.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. It's now going to bring us to item 7, licenses. A is a resolution granting a miscellaneous permit to conduct the annual Angry Unicorn Half Marathon 5K road race on Sunday, November 8, 2026, from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. to Ocean State Multisport of East Providence, Rhode Island, subject to the execution of a hold harmless agreement indemnifying the town and receipt of a certificate of insurance naming the town as an additional insured for the event in the amount specified by the finance director. Application by Gary Manesian. Gary?
If you push the button on the right, the red light will come on and you're all set.
Good evening. I'm Randy Shoecraft on behalf of Gary Manesian.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So as an opportunity to tell us about this event, what's going on, what's it going to be like?
It's
Go ahead.
the same event as we've had for years. It's the Angry Unicorn, November 8th of 26. Starts at the Matunic Elementary School and goes down into Charlestown to the beach and back. We have about 300 runners, and it's a nice race.
Excellent. How does one sign up? How do you participate?
You can go to Ocean State Multisport and sign up there.
All right. Anything else you'd like to say about the event to sort of advertise, market it?
Nope, that's it. We welcome everyone from the town and surrounding towns to come out and join for a nice run.
All right. Any questions?
Motion to approve item 7A.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. That passes. Good luck.
Great, thank you.
It's going to move us to item B, a resolution granting a road race license to Broad Rock Middle School PTO to conduct the Broad Rock Middle School Coyote Chase 5K and 1 mile fun run road race fundraiser on Saturday, March 28, 2026 at 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. subject to the execution of a hold harmless agreement indemnifying the town and certificate of insurance naming the town as an additional insured for the event. Application by Jessica Domack. Jessica, if you are here, I invite you to come on up. Or if anyone in the audience is here on behalf of this item. All right, seeing none, we may come back to that. We'll now move to item C.
Is it required that the applicant be here?
No, it's not. It is?
Who's, by ordinance? Is there something that we
Mike,
can
we're
do?
precluded from approving an item if the applicant is not in attendance.
So I feel like,
It's not too much.
oh, there's time?
Yeah, not till March 28th. So it's like 2.5 months away.
Okay.
The ordinance does say that the applicant's supposed to be here. You've waived that in the past, but why don't we see what happens before the evening's out?
Okay.
All right, we're going to move to item C, a resolution granting a special events permit to the SK USA 250th Committee to hold the Saugatucket Skirmish at Saugatucket Park on Saturday, February 7, 2026, from 1 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Application by Terry Murphy. Ken Burke, you are here. You can speak on behalf of this. What's happening?
Yes, thank you, Council President. We're here to seek your approval for the miscellaneous permit for the Saugatucket Skirmish on February 7th, just as you described, 1 to 5:30 p.m., 2 horse-drawn carriages giving leisurely rides throughout the elementary school out onto High Street, down Cemetery Lane. We've worked with the Riverside Cemetery. This will be a narrated ride. Learn a little bit of history of the town of South Kingstown. Later in the afternoon, we have a full-on encampment. We have 5 individual militias that will be there at the park. They'll be cooking beef stew. We've got the Pewter Pot Chocolatier from Salem, Connecticut, handing out free hot chocolate. And you will witness a spectacle in the park. So we seek your endorsement, please.
Excellent. Any questions for Ken?
Motion to approve item 7C.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Go ahead.
Is this, the skirmish, is this the Revolutionary encampment? Did I miss that part, or is that in the summer?
No, you're absolutely correct. It is the encampment, so you'll have 5 militias out there during the daytime. They'll be drilling. We've got period actors out there talking about the history of South Kingstown. The actual skirmish will happen later in the evening as a cap for the event.
Did you say that earlier and I just totally missed that?
No, I think Rory may have started talking about it. I glossed over it very quickly, so.
Okay, I just, that's what you hired, you contracted with militias, that's part of your budget, right? Of
Yes, correct.
Okay, and so the culminating event is when? Like the,
Well, the event is on February 7th. Get there early. Starts at 1 o'clock. We're going to have activities all throughout the day. But the firing of the cannon, I don't want to give too much away. Firing of cannons, musket fire, a lot of theatrics will happen a little bit later in the afternoon.
okay. So
Go
there's, it's stay, come and stay all day.
Yes, it's just 1 to 5:30. Yes, yes.
Ken, while you're here, this is a part of an ongoing series of events, right, from SK 250, including one on Wednesday?
Sure. You know, we had the Liberty Tree planting earlier this year through Sharon and Carol, sitting right behind me. And correct, on Wednesday, we have our first speaker series event. Miss Debbie Suggs will be at the high school.
Great. Well, I'm excited for it, and thank you for the work on the SK 250 for helping us and our town get ready for the bicentennial, or not bicentennial, the
That's, yeah.
Twister.
Kenny, did I see on social media that you're looking for some volunteers that day?
We are. Yeah, it's not a heavy lift as far as the volunteer effort, but we're looking for about a dozen and a half folks.
And so, how should they get in touch with you?
They could, through the website, the town website, there's contact information for us. I'm sure if you reach out to Terry Murphy, she'll send them our way.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Ken, I'm looking forward to this very much.
Thank you.
If I want to get outfits for myself, young child, other people, where do I go? Amazon, somewhere other than that?
Yeah, you have to get crafty. I've already got my outfit squared
All
away.
right, that's fair.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ken. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. Thank you, Ken. All right, it's now going to move us to item 8, public comments. I invite anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on any matter to come on up to the podium. We just ask that you identify yourself, and we're going to limit you to 5 minutes. When you begin speaking, this clock will begin counting down. You can use it as a way to pace yourself. We're going to limit this segment of public comment to 30 minutes. If there's anyone who hasn't spoken at that point, we'll come back to public comment at a later time in the meeting after we get through new business. Ken Burke, go ahead.
Thanks, Council President. So again, Kenny Burke, Chair of the SK USA 250th Planning Committee. I did want to let everybody know that we did meet as a full committee on Wednesday, and we passed a motion, unanimous consensus. We are seeking assistance and guidance and support from the town staff and the council for a sorely needed Revolutionary War monument at the Hazard School. This will basically make whole all of the indigenous and enslaved populations that are not on a monument that should be there at that specific location. And I'm going to yield the rest of my time for some of the other members of the committee that are here.
Thank you, Ken.
My name's Carol Stedman. There you go. Sorry. Carol Stedman. I'm a member of the Narragansett Indian tribe. I have lived here my whole life. My family has been here for centuries. We have been carpenters, stonemasons, cooks, servants, cleaners, professionals, and educators. Okay. As I stand here before you, I notice some of my friends and my family in the audience. They're here to show support for what we believe should happen. Let's see, as you state all the time before your meetings, you are on the land of the indigenous tribe before every meeting. So I think by having a companion monument over at Hazard School addressing those names of those people that were erased would be perfect in moving forward. We've been working with members in the community and members at URI who have been helping us find the names of those people, along with Christian McBurney. So we do have that entail. As you state, all men are created equal. Let us include those who were historically erased, and remember that the American tribal nations are still here. We're still fighting. We're still trying to move forward. We just want the town to move forward with us and recognize that we are still here. So, with that being said, if that monument is placed there, it can turn into a living, learning library and classroom session for the school system, where Broad Rock can go, Peacedale School can go, the teachers can go outside, talk about the old monument and the new monument and why it's there. And it'll be there for the future of our grandchildren and their kids, so that they can say, oh, during the 250, this is what our grandparents did or our parents did, and continue on. So it'll be a living monument for a long time for the town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mine's going to be a little longer. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Sharon Henderson. I am a member of the South Kingstown Military History Recognition Committee under the USA 250 Committee. I want to speak tonight about the 1932 Flagstaff Memorial at the Hazard School, and also why the companion monument we are proposing belongs right there beside it. For those who may not know, the Hazard School is the historic South Kingston High School building located at the northeast corner of School Street and Columbia Street, directly behind the current high school. It remains part of the high school grounds today, and it will remain so as the town builds its new high school. The Hazard School opened in 1911 and served as South Kingstown for more than 40 years. My grandmother, Mary Hulda Gaudreau, was a valedictorian of that school just a few years after it opened. My father, Alfred J. Kennerlaber, graduated from that same school in 1941. This site is not just historic to the town, it's historic to the families who grew up here. In 1932, the Flagstaff Memorial was placed on these grounds on George Washington's birthday to honor South Kingstown's veterans of the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, the Spanish-American War, the Civil War, and World War I. The Hazard family, who donated the land and funded the school, intended this memorial be seen by students so that young people would grow up understanding their town's military history. My connection to that monument is very personal. My grandfather, John Jacob Kennerlaber, is listed on it as a World War I veteran. And his brother-in-law, my grandmother's brother, my great-uncle, Alfred Gaudreau, is one of 8 World War I deaths recorded there. Because of that family connection, I came to know the monument very well, and over time, I became deeply involved in documenting South Kingstown's military history. I served on the Washington County as Washington County representative on the state of Rhode Island's World War I Centennial Commission under Governor Raimondo during a time when South Kingstown played a significant role in the statewide commemoration. Through that work and through my service as chair and co-chairs of the Military History Recognition Subcommittees for South Kingstown's 300th anniversary and SKUSA 250 committees, I have researched and documented all Purple Heart recipients, prisoners of war, and fallen service members from South Kingstown, all the way back to the Revolutionary War. Through this research, we discovered something important. The 1932 monument was created with the best information available at the time, but we know now that many people who served South Kingstown during the Revolutionary War were left off. These include African heritage and indigenous patriots whose service was real, local, and was documented. The companion monument will exist for one reason: to complete the story. Placing it beside the original 1932 Flagstaff Memorial matters. It keeps the full military history of the South Kingston together in one meaningful place. It allows families, students, and residents to see the whole story at once. It also respects the intent of the original memorial rather than separating it from the history it represents. Some have suggested placing this monument elsewhere. I respectfully believe that would weaken both monuments. The companion monument belongs beside the original where the story began. As South Kingstown approaches the 250th anniversary of the American independence, this is our chance to honor the full history in a visible and lasting way. I would also respectfully ask that the town manager's office meet directly with our Military History Recognition Committee so we can formally present our companion monument proposal, answer questions to follow the proper process for placement on a future town council agenda. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for your service to the town.
Thank you, Sharon.
Hello, David Gates. So, my family stretches back prior to the Revolutionary War in this area, in these villages, albeit Kingston, closer to the King Philip War of 1675 and 1676. But that pales in comparison to all the Native Americans here that live in this town, hundreds of Native Americans that have history here and have gone back millennia. So I believe in this companion project, this companion monument. My grandfathers sat in your chairs back in the 1930s with Oliver Stedman and Thomas Piermont Hazard. My father sat in your chairs in the 1960s with Roland Fiore and a number of others, Jack Hamilton and all those characters. So anyways, all said, I believe in this companion monument. I think it's good for the town, and I think it has to happen now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Bob Traeger, Succotash Road, United States of America, South Kingstown. I'm just a little old man, 86, and I'm witnessing what I think is the most tragic era that I've ever seen in the United States of America. I didn't take the little book I had there, but I should go get it because I wanted to say a couple of names. Well, Steve Miller's written down there. I listened to him a few times. Does anybody know who he is?
Yes.
He's an advisor to the President of the United States of America. My estimation of his, the way I would describe him, is if he would be an SS person in the German army and he would be advising Hitler. And I think, in no uncertain terms, there's not any question about it. I listened to I'm sure everybody is aware of Minneapolis and the unbelievable situation that occurred just a couple of days ago. Well, murder has been, it's murder. I mean, I'm not a fool. But that's not, saying that, I'm not trying to hype anybody up. When I listen to our chiefs, the people that are running this country, the one that's running the military, the one that's running the legal system, the Vice President of the United States calling this just a regular woman a terrorist. Give me a break. Are we going to put up with this? I believe that every single person in the country should be on the road soon. I'm not fooling around anymore. I've even thought about making a sign and walking around Wakefield. There might be just one nut to put a bullet in my back, probably around here, but we got a pretty good group, I think. We got a pretty good group in the whole country. A lot of people know. If you want to listen to stuff, and this, I listened to at least 3 lawyers, not partisan, not Democrat, Republican, just explain how what's being done in this country is against the law. It's contrary to our Constitution. And we're just sitting back and letting it go. I know we're not 100%. Okay, I want to mention Jack Reed. I listened to the senator more than once, and he spent like 20 minutes or 25 minutes stating, as hard as I could do it, he's a smarter man than I am, he could say it, he put the words together to describe the unbelievable behavior of our country right now. We are in big trouble. You know, I've come up here and I said I'm going to do this as long as I will, as long as I can stand. I'm a little wobbly, but lately I've been doing pretty good on my feet. But I think my mind is working. I play bridge 3 times a week to maintain my sanity so I can get away from it. If I could play golf, I do the golf, or I do something. I paint. I'm painting seascapes and portraits. I do stuff to get my mind off it. But I do have the time to listen to C-SPAN, which is the station that the people that are making the decisions are on. And people don't even know what C-SPAN is in this country. That's how far back. I've asked a few people. They don't think. Christiane Amanpour is on at 11 o'clock at night every night, and she's on at 6 o'clock in the morning. I get up at 5:30. I listen to her at 6 o'clock. When I say I listen to her, I don't listen to her. She has some of the best guests that will outline these situations in a very, very intellectual and emotional, every other way you want to think of it. These people, they're lawyers, they're not politicians, they're just stating the facts. And the facts, anyway, I hope I've emphasized, I can't emphasize it enough, that I believe the country, we can't take 3 more years of this. We cannot do it. We cannot allow it. The people are going to have to stand up. A few people talking about impeachment. Well, they tried to impeach him twice.
We appreciate the passion and all your words.
Okay,
here.
am I done? I'm sorry.
With just a number of people in the audience, we do want to give an opportunity
And
to
there's
speak.
no sense of it anyway. If you can't understand a little bit about what I'm talking about, we're even in more trouble. Because this is a group of people that care. These are people in this room that care. And if we care, baby, we better stop moving on it.
Thank you.
Hi, Lori Miller Horton. I'm here to bring Kersey Road sidewalk issue to your attention again. As you may know, I've been told that the engineering was done and it is in the CIP, but there's no funding and there's no foreseeable time set for this work to be done. So basically, we've got an engineering study and no plans to go any further with it at this time. I was told that maybe there's some grant funding, maybe this, maybe that, but we're right back where we were 10 years ago, 11 years ago now when I started this, and the same place that we were a couple of years ago when I started bringing it up again, except now we have an engineering study, but nothing else. So I am grateful that the town has agreed to start busing the high school students from Patty Hill to the high school, which is great, because that was definitely a problem. But that doesn't help the kids when they come home in the afternoon, because they don't come home on the bus. They come home a little after, or after sports or clubs or activities. So you still got kids walking home and crossing Kersey Road in the afternoon, and we know how busy the traffic is after 2 o'clock in this town. And it doesn't help any of the families who want to get to the playground, the library, the guild, or anywhere else in town. So we still have 14 families up there that can't get anywhere. And I'd like for the town council to pay attention to this and try to move it ahead, press for grant money, or do whatever can be done to get this project going finally. And secondly, I know that you can't answer me tonight, but I'd also like to say that I don't see any reason that we shouldn't have traffic safety speed cameras in front of Peacedale School. That would really help slow the traffic down on Kersey Road. And as I've been told that it is allowed, there is no state permission that's needed because it's in a school district. So the only thing that is needed, to my understanding, and I could be wrong, but I believe that it just needs the will of the town council to vote and ask that there be a speed camera put on Kersey Road in front of Peacedale Elementary School. And I'd like to know what the council's objection is to a speed camera there, and I'd like to know if that might be possible.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Karen Black. I'm part of the subcommittee for the companion monument. I truly believe it's a good thing. I think you've heard of all the reasons. We just really want to be part of the agenda next time, where we can present it and get approval so we can start fundraising. And we realize that's on us to do, but we would like to know that we have approval to put the monument there so we can move forward. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you. All right, anyone else in the audience wish to speak who hasn't spoken yet? All right, any thoughts from council members? Go ahead.
Yeah, a couple questions. Regarding Karen Black's request, does somebody need to send an email to you to put it on the agenda, or are we all set that on the 26th, and they should prepare to present?
If I spoke to Mr. Burke, the chair of the 250th committee,
Yeah.
that just send us the proposal that they'd like, and we will review it and get it on the agenda for, as long as they're in that time frame for the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. And one more thing. Based on the resident who's advocating for sidewalks on Kersey Road, where'd you go, Lori? Okay, sorry. We can answer questions if someone comes. We're not precluded from responding to anyone in the public. If more than one of us respond, then we add it to the agenda. There's a process so that we can all talk to you. But I just had a question about the cameras. So what is the process so the public understands if that's something we went in that direction? What would we need to do, and what would be the process?
Mike, should we add that to the agenda? We're going to discuss it?
My guess is they're going to be follow-up questions.
Okay.
So let's just add it, and that way you're covered.
So a motion to add that topic to the agenda?
Second.
All right, motion second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So I believe the chief of police for South Kingstown had addressed traffic cameras in front of school zones in the past. It is a big leap forward, and in some respects it works. and in others, it just triggers a tremendous amount of complaints about the volume of people getting these tickets. So, but if the council wishes, we could get information on it from the chief of police and represent it if the council so wishes, but really is a policy decision by the council to, if they do want something like that.
May I? Just follow
Go
up?
ahead.
So regarding that, and I know the chief is in the back, but he may not be prepared to answer any questions. Is that a location where we would put that speed sign where we capture how many, we did it on Woodruff Avenue?
So what we do is with any type of these cameras, we would see if there's a need for it. We would do some type of traffic safety.
Yeah, like we did at Woodruff Avenue,
Yes.
we had something there.
See if there is a significant problem. You could do it in just about any school zone, if that's what the pleasure is of the council, if that's what you want to look at. And then see if there is an issue in front of these school zones, and then bring the data back to prove or disprove whether there is an issue there.
And I just had a question about the cameras themselves, and maybe the chief can just nod. Is it a camera that we could only operate, like, say, 7:30 to 5, and not deal with this, because I think it's like a school zone traffic thing.
You can set it so that when the schools are in session,
Yeah.
it's sensitive to those
Yeah.
designated speed limits in front of the schools.
Yeah, can you do that?
Yes, Charleston does it. They have one in front of one of their schools.
Oh, okay. You were going to say something, chief?
So when we did look at this, I think it was probably a year and a half ago, we did do a speed study by one of the companies. So what the regulations would be that it would only be during school times. So it would be set, and so the camera would be operating all the time, but it would only be collecting data during the specific times that we set up during the school's time. We can look back at the report a year and a half ago, but there was significant speeds in Kersey Road, and that was one of the recommendations we made at the time, is to look at speed cameras in those areas. Kersey Road's not the only area, really we saw significant speeding issues throughout the town in all the school districts.
At that time, we didn't take up, we were not agreeable to implementing the speed cameras in the school zones
Correct.
because of concerns about people's privacy.
I don't know what the current concerns were. It's just we did present the study to the school committee and presented the findings from that study, but it was never brought to the council for consideration.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Just the other side of this Kersey Road issue about the sidewalks. Do I remember correctly? I thought that there was mention of the sidewalks being in the CIP,
They
but
are.
in the out years.
Yes, so if I can give you, do we have to add that, Mike?
No, you added.
All right. So Kersey Road has been on our radar for a couple of years. We've heard this woman loud and clear. So we did apply for a grant. And the United States did issue a grant for $93 million. We got none of it. The city of Newport got $19,000. The town of East Greenwich got $60,000 for a very specific project. We were hoping for a good, very good, robust grant to redo our Main Street and to do sidewalks. The state of Rhode Island got very, very little. So we did not get that grant. We cannot reapply for another year. There really are no grants available for this stuff right now. The grants kind of got turned off about a year ago. But the $700,000 price tag for those sidewalks, which is a big number, that's pretty much as close to our entire paving number. I mean, it's a lot of money. We need to save up for that. We just don't have $700,000 just put aside to put sidewalks in. So it is in our CIP. We are saving money, and if Rich is here, we can maybe give you the date that we're looking to hopefully get it done.
Rich Bourbonnais, come on up.
I wasn't going to put Rich on the spot to come up with the year, but I thought it was in the out years of the CIP that was presented to us.
I think maybe while Rich is coming up, I just would like to sort of discuss the way that our funding works, the way that grants work. So Jim made reference to a lot of the grants going away a year ago. So a lot of this is not a favorable situation for us in Rhode Island with the grant money. So that's really a problem for us that sit up here. But so Rich.
It is. Money's always an issue. So generally on something like this, we would try to look for those dollars, and then what we would do is we would have a match. That would be always required a match, and then we'd be able to kind of supplement that with other dollars that we have within our capital reserve. In this case, we just haven't been able to find money on that. Again, we really don't have a real well-defined estimate, but as we get closer with our permitting with DEM, it's in permitting with DEM now. But as that gets finalized, we'll have a better estimate. But when you're looking at $600,000, $700,000, it's a pretty big tag.
So, Rich, it is in our CIP?
It is, and it's pushed out a couple of years. That way, it's on the radar, and we're all aware of it. And we'll always be looking to get dollars for that. It's the same thing again with the Saugatucket culvert. We pushed that out a couple of years in the same fashion.
So this time we anticipate it to cost about $700K. So in the CIP, there's amounts set aside over time over the next 6 years to get to that 700?
We are not setting aside. It is projected out as a future project in a future year, but we are not squirreling away money for that at this time.
So it's projected as a future year project put in year 6 of the CIP as something to get to?
You know what, I can't remember exactly which year. I didn't think it was that far out. I thought it was maybe 5, but
Could you come back to us with that?
I can get back to you on that.
That would be great. I think this council is interested in knowing that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lori, for bringing that to our attention. It's good to see you again. All right, we're going to move on now to new business. Item 9, we have the chair of the school building committee. We have Chris Spiegel, we have Kate, we have Phil Conti, we also have representatives of Gil Bain. So can we all ask you all to come on up here, walk us through this, item 9A.
Kate Massnanti, Chair of the School Building Committee. I'm just going to kick it off really quick to say we're here to present to you our GMP number 2, which is our full guaranteed maximum price for the South Kingstown High School project. And I want to be very specific. It's for the South Kingstown High School phase of the project only. It's not inclusive of Curtis Corner Fields. But it is inclusive of the demolition and refielding up there as well. So it encompasses all of that. But I'm going to pass it over to the project team. They have some really wonderful news, and I look forward to hearing a robust discussion around it. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone. Let me pull my screen up. As Kate mentioned, this is a big milestone for us tonight. We've been coming in front of you every few weeks talking about tonight and the milestone that we're achieving this evening, and that is our guaranteed maximum price, our final construction contract for the South Kingstown High School. So over the past few months, the design team issued their construction documents and bidding documents based off of the designs and estimates that we've been reviewing with the building committee and this council over a year now. We had previously executed GMP number 1, which was the initial construction contract for site work, structural steel, concrete, and a few long lead time items that we needed to early purchase. That was really to get us in the ground and get us started while the design was finalized. Bidding had additional time. Full negotiations were able to be had for the remainder of the building project. So I'll walk us through our overall total project budget just to familiarize ourselves with what makes up the $150 million. So within the 150 million, we have a construction budget for the high school portion of the project. That's $116,266,963. That is the number we are going to be comparing against tonight. That is the dollar value that is set aside for the physical construction costs of the high school. FF&E and technology, that portion of the budget is $3,136,500. That is for furniture, furnishings, equipment, and technology like smart boards, wireless access points, servers, etc. Anything that's really not nailed down as part of the building, that's outside of Gilbane's scope, not in the construction budget. The Curtis Corner Athletic Program remains at $11 million. Professional services and project-related expenses, that is for the entire professional team's fees, as well as commissioning agents, materials testing, lab, legal expenses, any other costs that the project undertakes in the full development and execution, is at $12,807,360. And then owner's contingency, that covers any changes to the construction contract that we previously discussed as part of our change order task force, is $6,796,177. So that's everything that's within the 150. Right now, tonight, we are comparing against the 116 million. So within the guaranteed maximum price construction contract for Gilbane, we have about 32 trade contractors that are being recommended to award as part of the overall construction contract. Site services, allowances within the construction contract that are for scope items that are needed but not yet defined. General conditions, which is Gilbane's staffing costs, fee, bond, insurance, permitting cost, fire district costs, and construction contingency. So all of those make up our overall construction costs within the GMP. Below that line, in addition, you'll also see pre-construction services and the geothermal test well are part of the overall total number. However, that is an additional portion of the budget, as you guys know, that was approved separately from the construction costs. So the geothermal test well being funded directly by the school department, and the pre-construction services are in that professional fees bucket that we looked at earlier. So, so the total value we're presenting tonight for trade contractors, inclusive of GMP number 1 and number 2, our total value is $89,038,933. Site services costs for $6,033,105. Owner allowances for $3,560,000. Fee, bond, insurance contingencies for $15,693,987 for a total GMP amount for construction costs of $114,326,025. We are just under $2 million under budget at this point in time. If you guys recall,
Well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yes. And if you recall, in previous design sessions, we had a lot of hard conversations about value engineering, value management, cost reductions. There's a lot of work that went into bringing this cost down. We're really excited to say that the program itself has remained intact. There was even additional $2.5 million of PAYGO that was considered as an additional contingency bucket to make sure that the auditorium and the CTE spaces remained intact. We're pleased to say we are not looking to utilize any of that contingency as a portion of the 150 that we presented this evening. So we are extremely pleased to present this to you for approval and for execution. I'm going to turn it over to Gilbane to talk a little bit about the bidding process, but I'll pause beforehand if there's any additional questions on the overall project costs.
Any questions? Go ahead.
Just to clarify for the benefit of the public, in addition to that lower number, that doesn't even take into account the amount that we are eligible for reimbursement from RIDE.
That's correct.
Okay, which is 52% on 116 million. So taxpayers have the opportunity to save even more money. I'm just curious, do we get any benefit from RIDE for coming in under? Can we squeeze anything else out of them?
No, well, they're not, I wish I could say yes.
It was just a thought. Thank you.
Just well done from, you all put your heads together, coming to us 6 months ago, saying that the project was going to be delayed, to getting the project back on budget, or back on track, and under budget at this time. We still have a long way to go, but you should deserve some public kudos from us at this point. Keep it up. Even more savings will be better for us in the long run, but I'm very, very satisfied to hear this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to follow what Mike said, it's 52% of 116, or is it the 150?
It's the 116.
It's 116, so
the MOA value, correct.
The FFE, the technology piece, we don't get, okay.
No, I'm sorry, hold on.
I thought you did. I thought that part you did.
So
and
all-
the soft costs.
Yeah, so it's $116 million is the total MOA value that they'll reimburse you. With that being said, that $116 million is not just made up of just hard costs. It's made up of hard costs and soft costs and FF&E as well. Because not every project every part of a project is reimbursable. Anything considered an operational cost, as an example, fields are not considered reimbursable. So that's why the actual 116 is not just made up of just the hard construction. It's made up of a bunch of different buckets for the money. Yeah, it might be higher than 116.
I'm just trying to follow, I'm just looking
I
at,
don't remember.
not this one, the one before.
So the 116 on that sheet is not related to the RIDE reimbursement, and I apologize. The RIDE reimbursement is based on your MOA, your memorandum of agreement with the state, which predates me, which is why I'm looking at Chris, and I believe it's at 127 million total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds right, yeah.
Which would be total project cost. It includes some FF&E, it includes technology. It's just at a lower construction cost because at the time that the MOA was awarded, the project budget was lower.
But just because we came in under budget doesn't mean that we're getting less reimbursement. It just means that other parts of the project are now going to get that $116 million, or $127 million, excuse me.
So just to clarify
Can you do
here,
it again slower and,
I'm going to ask some clarifying questions here. So what's the amount, the maximum amount by which RIDE will give you 52.5 reimbursement? You said a few different numbers. What is that amount?
I don't have the number in front of me, Luke. I think you might.
Sounded like you
looking-
started with 116, then you moved to 127.
Yeah, so I think it's 127 seems to be the consensus here. I don't have that number in front of me.
Phil Conti, do you agree with that number? Can you come up to the microphone?
I do not have the MOA in front of me, otherwise I would tell you. But that is the number that you're looking for, is what is on the memorandum of agreement.
When I had said 116, I was going back to the RIDE approval in December of '23 because I thought that's
Yes.
where that was our cap.
We can look that up.
just trying to figure out.
So it is $117 million for the new South Kingstown High School and Curtis Corner athletic fields. You have other projects, Broad Rock Middle School, Peacedale Elementary School, Matunic Elementary School, and West Kingstown Elementary School that are also eligible for reimbursement in case project savings want to be moved towards those. So that's where that higher number comes in. So a total of that 106.
So just,
Yeah, it's like 138 is
so
your
just
total.
for the high school, the amount
Is $106,576,400.
106?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Curtis Corner is 11.
11,095,000. Yeah.
So that adds to
117.
117.
100.
All right. So the high school plus Curtis Corner gets us to the 117. That's the cap amount by which we'll be reimbursed at a rate of 52.5%. Then when you add in all the other schools that are not part of this sort of bond issuance high school project, you can do another, sounded like you said
22,
21 million-ish?
26, 29,
That would be
yeah,
subject
we'll
to
get back to you with an
reimbursement at a rate
exact
of
number, but it's
52.5%?
over 29 million. I'll get back to you with an exact number. I'll just do the math right now.
All right, let me,
I just want to say, this goes back to the conversation we were having on last week
Exactly.
with the school committee about being able to get maximum reimbursement by moving, like fast tracking some of our CIPs that are off this master list. This conversation is going to get really complicated really fast, kind of outside of the point of the presentation. I just want to throw that out there because this is kind of a pretty specific
All right,
agenda
we will-
item that we're asking you to
We'll
vote
allow
on.
you to sort of gather that information, hopefully present it to us at a later date. But for purposes of right now, I just want to clarify this. By the reduction, or by coming in with these savings of around 1.9 to 2 million, that allows essentially all of what's included in the GMP 1 and 2 to be subject to 52.5 reimbursement, and then allow other costs that we didn't anticipate that we'd get 52.5% reimbursement for are now eligible for that. Sounded like you're saying that, is that right?
They will reimburse up to the $109 million that we discussed.
109? Now we have another figure that we haven't heard?
Sorry, 106. I apologize not having these numbers in front of me because it was not originally part of the presentation. The MOA approval for the high school is $106,576,000. So that is how much this project of the 114 will be eligible for the reimbursement.
And Mike's saying on the side to me, $11 million for Curtis Corner, which is how you get to that 117.
Correct.
Okay.
And just to be clear, the 52% is on the 117.
That's correct. But the $11 million will come as a separate contract.
So at 52% of 117, our maximum reimbursement is $50 million.
I don't see that math. 117 million times 52.5 is in excess of 50 million.
I do not have the
All right, let's get
reimbursement
away from the math.
calculations
Sorry.
on this.
We'll get away from the math.
State share is 52,500,000. It says that on your MOA, what the state will be paying, and plus interest over the 30 years.
In an effort to not further confuse this situation, we're happy to do a reimbursement calculation and provide that. I don't want to end up confusing these numbers. We're throwing a lot of things out there, and I don't want it to get misconstrued or miscalculated in any way. So
Okay.
let us give you a full reimbursement calculation, and we can send you a memorandum with that information. That is not part of this presentation.
That's fair. Now that we're seeing savings of 1.9 to 2 million, that provides us with some options here. Potentially reducing the amount of the bond when we issue the debt, or use the remaining amounts that we're saving here toward those things that we cut out when we had to look at savings options to make sure we were under the 150, which we did a meeting, I don't know, 3 to 6 months ago, I recall.
There were a few items that we cut out that at that point we had made a decision. If we cut this out, we are not bringing them back in. Things like geothermal that would require a full redesign. At this point, that system is bought out. We would not consider bringing that back. There are a few alternates that we have that we will be bringing to the change order subcommittee on Friday. Most of them are finish related as far as upgrading from a vinyl wall protection in the corridors to a ceramic tile, things of that nature. There's also some additional fencing around the perimeter of the site, around the new field. That is going to be under consideration as well. So there are a few of those items that we can consider bringing back in here. But the list as a whole, we'll go through and see if there's anything within that we can bring back. But most of that, we needed to make a decision at that time that it was designed, bid out, in which direction we would move forward.
And decision as to that will take place at a school building committee at some point in the future?
So initially it'll go to the change order task force, and then depending on the value of the change, it'll go in front of the building committee. It'll follow the process that was outlined in the change order task force
Okay,
procedures.
so let me try to get this clear. the savings that you present here of around 1.9 to 2 million,
Yes.
that will sort of be used and applied toward any change orders that are unanticipated, sort of be eat into that amount there. But then, assuming there's any amounts left, like a decision as to its use, whether to spend on things that it potentially could be that were taken out of this project, which we kind of just talked through, that would originate at a school building committee at some time in the future?
So the almost $2 million that we are under budget does not automatically get reallocated to a different area of the budget. It really is unspent savings at this point. If those savings are spent and decide to add it to a project contingency, for example, that would be a decision that needs to come all the way up to this group. It'll go through the building committee and up here if there's additional funds that we want to expend in a different area of the budget. But as of right now, we are not planning to transfer that to a different portion of the budget. It will just remain as project savings.
Okay, so at this point, the high school project will not exceed 150 million less the 1.9 million that you have up there. Any decision as to use of those monies would have to originate from the council?
The total project budget remains at 150 million. Currently, the construction budget is showing a savings of $2 million. We are not looking
Which I can infer from that mathematical information that the that the max cost would be 150 million less the savings you present. Is that not correct?
I don't have the authority to modify the total project budget. The total project budget is $150 million. We are just at this point forecasting $2 million in savings on the construction budget.
So the total project budget is 150 million, and it remains 150 million, despite you presenting numbers up here that when we pass GMP number 2, that we will be just under $2 million savings.
That's correct. That budget line item is currently $2 million under budget.
But yet the maximum project remains 150.
That is the total project budget.
That's the budget that was approved by RIDE.
Okay, so how about actual cost once this is done? It should be 150 million less the 1.9. We can't answer that either.
Too soon to tell.
I can't forecast the total project expenditures at this point in the project, but I can tell you that the construction contract at this point will be $114,326,000, which is roughly $2 million under the originally allocated budget for construction costs.
Go ahead.
So, what you're here tonight to talk about is the $114,598,000 that's going to Gilbane, in theory, to all these other companies and contractors that they coordinated. And the public needs to know, Gilbane is not going to come back to us and go, oh, it's 118.
That's correct.
That's the
This
big
is a
news
guaranteed
tonight.
maximum price.
The guaranteed maximum price is 114 million and
Correct.
change, which is 2 million left.
Any changes to that will happen via change order, and we'll go through the prescribed process of the change order task force.
So what Rory was maybe thinking but didn't ask out loud was the council can decide we might only need to bond 148. That's a council decision later, or that 1.9, oh, we needed ceramic tile in the hallway, instead we're gonna upgrade here, and the change like that could spend some of that money, or we could just put that 1.9 back into the owner's contingency, basically replenishing it, because as I recall, it was 9 million, but we spent a little bit at a meeting to do the auditorium and the music room, and then that's how we, at the time, did that, correct?
Yes,
Am I
so
remembering?
Gilbane's contract will be for $114 million. The numbers that are on this screen, that is Gilbane's contract. They cannot bill for more than that without a change order. And the change orders are all approved through the process that was established.
This is excellent news.
Yes, this is very great.
Because
This
the
moment we've
guaranteed
been
maximum
waiting
price really is us saying what we're gonna spend they'll
Yes.
build it for that, full stop.
Absolutely.
Fine.
Yes, this is the moment we've all been waiting for, and all
Yes.
the questions about the price of steel. and
Trying.
Yes.
All these things.
The prices are locked in. This
The
is when we
price-
lock
This
in.
is like the best, really awesome news for the whole. Thank you, guys. This is so great. Thank you. And we're very excited to be under budget.
Yes.
And I'm so happy to have that guaranteed maximum price.
Yes.
That's because
Thank
the
you for
Gilbane
walking us.
people all live here and they don't have to commute. The mileage reimbursement is less. No?
Yeah, it's their tax
Yes.
bill. It's their tax bill too, so they've got it. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So just the 1.9 million, it does sort of go back into that owner's contingency line item, correct, or no?
So it's not a formal transfer of funds. When you look at the budget worksheet that I submit as part of my monthly report, you'll see kind of an over-under. I'm not moving it out of the construction budget because then you can spend it. Right now, it's staying right there, and it's going to stay there until somebody tells me to move it to another portion of the budget to fund something else.
Okay.
I am not planning on reallocating those funds towards anything else in the project at this point in time.
Okay. And we've entrusted Mike to gatekeep the change order process.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I'm just going ahead on this. It looks like we have proposals, at least one company, except for Theater Rig and AV. We seem to have proposals for more than one company, which is great, right?
Yes.
Competition for that. And GMP number 2, I'm referring to. Yeah, I mean, this is great news. And keep it up.
Yeah, and I'm happy to bring Gilbane up to talk a little bit about the bidding process, but it's been a very thorough process. I just want to highlight, it's probably been over a month of 8 hours a day of scope review meetings. They received hundreds of proposals, reviewed hundreds of proposals. They have pre-qualification processes that they go through for all of these contractors, and hours of scope review meetings with these contractors, vetting their proposals, ensure that they're thorough, complete, and qualified. Have the capacity to do the job, have the qualifications to do the job. So it was an extremely thorough process to get us to this point.
All right, thank you for your work.
Yeah.
And we appreciate it. Keep it up. We don't want to get too optimistic, but we feel good about it.
Yes, this is good news. This is a great point in the project.
We don't know if the remaining $35.5 million will bring the total project cost to $150 million. So that's sort of yet to be seen.
I'm not understanding the question. Yep.
Okay, so you have a number of ways that this doesn't have. So you've got $2 million in savings, you've got your owner's contingency, and you have allowances inside the budget. I think one of the ways to look at it is that you could spend all of that and still have $150 million projects. We've got millions of risk management safeguards in place to ensure that this project does not go over budget, and that in all likelihood, you will be asked if you want to add scope back into the project, or you're going to be asked if you want to bond lower amounts of money, or some combination of both. Because of the safeguards that we have built into this budget, this $2 million further enhances those safeguards. And we're getting through a lot of our work on site right now. We're getting past some substantial risk. We've already got foundations. Steel is starting soon. These are all really good things for your project budget, because most of your risk is in your soils, it's in your existing conditions, it's not in building the actual building itself.
All right. Thank you.
Just a couple more things on this. We should also take a minute to recognize, I know this is going into the weeds for the public hasn't been involved in this, but thank you for the advice over the year and a half that you've been at this to split the project into 2 contracts so that we got an early jump on it, and to have the project manager at risk so that there's an absolute cap on there. That's how we got to this point. So thank you for that work to the entire team.
Motion to approve item 9A.
Second.
We have a motion, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
See you in a month.
I'm sorry for anything I said. It's mad.
It's going to bring us now to item 9B. Terry, welcome.
Thank you. You ready for me? I don't want to, oh, okay. Before the council this evening is a resolution for consideration of authorizing the award of bid for the purchase of a new infield grooming machine for the Parks Division to replace a 2019 grooming machine that has seen much better days. This has been budgeted in the two previous years, this year's CIP and the previous year's CIP, for an amount of $35,000. Seeking council's authorization to award it to Alta Construction Equipment New England LLC. They were the sole bidder for this bid in an amount of $34,525. Any questions?
Any questions for Terry?
Motion to approve item 9B.
Second.
We have a motion, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Right, that passes.
Thank you very
Terry.
much.
Rich Bourbonnais, come on up.
Good evening. Can I go ahead?
Go ahead, Rich.
The first of two items that I have, the first is a request to award a bid to Downspout of West Greenwich to clean and treat our water towers. The award is in the amount of $28,250, and that includes a $5,000 contingency. If approved, it'll be paid for the Water Department's capital improvement budget. This work was approved in the fiscal year 24-25 capital budget.
Motion to approve item 9C.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just a question, is this the one that involves the drones?
Well, so we're not using drones this time.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I'll pass then. When
What-
you bring the drones back, I want to go walk.
Okay, I'll let you
What's
know.
going to be used instead of drones, Rich?
Well, they'll use a lift. They'll rent a lift and they'll use that, or they have a lift and they'll use that. So that was the option. I mean, we went to the drones. They were the low bid, frankly. But you know, if you go look at those tanks, they're a little darker than they have been in the past at this time of year, this time of the cycle. So we weren't necessarily really happy, but they also were not the low bid.
Motion to, did we do? Yeah, we did. Let's move on.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. Item D and E are orders of notice.
Motion to approve item, oh, you got to read them.
Anyone have any comment on item D or E? Otherwise, we'll just take it up in a block. All right, do I hear a motion on item D and E?
Motion to approve item 9, D, and E.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.
It's going to bring us to item F. Chief Moynihan, come on up.
Good evening. So, as presented in front of you, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer it.
All right, this is pretty typical, right? It's just a
Yes.
renewal of a 3-year mutual aid agreement that we have with Narragansett.
So the background of this was already presented to the Narragansett Town Council. It is an agreement that's been in place. It expired at the end of September, so we were looking to renew it. It was just delayed bringing forward to the council for approval. We've continued services throughout, we respond to the areas down at Jerusalem, both for police and EMS support as well as fire.
Go ahead.
Chief, you familiar with Beach Row down in Jerusalem?
I am, yeah.
Are you familiar that there's a gate that goes on that road that blocks people from, if you're not in the neighborhood, from driving down Beach Row?
No, I'm not. I'm not familiar with the gate.
So there's a gate on Beach Row that's there, I guess put up by the private organization neighborhood there. So if there's an emergency down Beach Row or on Percy Lane, how does South Kingstown react and deal with that?
I mean, typically when we have gates, we have keys, and either notice within the dispatch center, whether there's an electronic keypad that we would press to get in. I'd have to check into this because I'm not familiar with it.
Could you follow up with us on that?
Yes, I will.
Thank you very much.
Isn't it like the Kenyon, Jim, isn't it Kenyon? You're talking about that Kenyon, I think it's Yeah, Kenyon Association.
The same people that try to cut off people from going to the kiddie beach. Or the beach next to the pier down there? Same organization.
Yes, so if you're looking at Jim's dock, if you look to the right, if there's a gate, there's a road there. And Jay is saying they're the same people who deny parking at that beach?
No, so if you're looking at the roundabout right there, and if instead of bearing left on the roundabout to go past Skips on your right, you would go up the hill.
To the right.
To the right. So we're on the same page there, yeah.
Yeah.
So you, if there was an emergency there, I guess the question.
We have instructions in dispatch, so if there is a keypad, if there's a key for access for emergency vehicles, I'm just not familiar what the instructions are for this location,
Okay.
but I'll get back to you with it.
Thank you,
Okay.
Chief.
You're welcome.
What I think he's also referring to, maybe I'm wrong, is there's like a dozen or so parking spaces in front of the beach that I call Jim's Dock. And that people say that homeowners take their cars out of their driveway, pull them into those parking spaces, so the regular public can never access them because they're just held by the property owners. Is that?
So the parking's unique down in this area. It's actually, we have Narragansett ticket books that we have because we can't issue a South Kingston
Okay.
ticket in Narragansett. I mean, again, this agreement here is for emergency services. We do assist them with parking that gets congested down there because it does get backlogged up.
Yeah.
But in reality, our CSOs do a great job during the summer to do that. But, this agreement is based on emergency response or services to that area because of our proximity to Jerusalem as opposed to Narragansett coming.
I think there needs to be better parking management by the state, whether they, like in Newport where you buy a ticket and you put it on your windshield, because I think people do live around there, they move their cars to those spots, and then if you took your family down there, you couldn't park there because they're always full. So I think that's what's happening there.
That is a problem down there, and it's also a problem of public access, right?
Yeah.
So we're paying for mutual, where we're going to be getting paid $8,000 for the mutual aid down there. But I've been told by several residents throughout the years that a lot of times a security guard at Beach Row will harass people for walking onto Beach Row to go access the beach down there. And I think that's wrong. And so that's why I was curious to see what our response was for South Kingstown Police in trying to access that road when there is a gate up. And the gate's only like 8 to 10 years old, so.
All right. I'll look into it and let you know.
I was on the other side of this too, with this agreement. This agreement's been in place for decades, long time. And what is the reason for it? If you look at a map, Jerusalem really looks like it's in South Kingston, but it's not. It's in Narragansett because it doesn't go in the channel, it goes into the land because Narragansett historically wanted to control the port. So, with that being said, if you think about it, and there's an emergency in Jerusalem, Narragansett would have to travel 12 miles, Narragansett PD, to get around to that spot. With South Kingstown, we have cruises with general proximity there, right up into the East Matunic Beach. But a police department can't just cross into another jurisdiction just on its own unless mutual aid is requested or is implied by this agreement. So Narragansett pays the town $8,000, a nominal fee, so that South Kingstown cruisers can go in there for emergency situations in our EMS as well. Now, it works both ways. If you look at Narragansett, they have 3 rescues on at any given time, and we have 2 at any given time right now. Before, we only had 1 up until a few years ago. They would respond to South Kingstown at no cost, their rescues, on a 9-to-1 ratio up until 3 or 4 years ago. So it works both ways. I understand what you're saying, Mr. Wedgemont, that it is an issue down there, but that's really a Narragansett issue as far as that private parking that's going on. This is really just for the police department to go down there in a fire, a rescue, an incident, and so forth, where South Kingston can go in and take jurisdiction of that.
Well, that makes sense. And also, we have South Kingstown residents, so you have to enter Jerusalem, Narragansett to get to the South Kingstown residents, the Hoopers at the end of the lighthouse right there. A motion to approve item 9F.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Luke Murray, come on up.
Good evening. For your consideration is the dissolution of the Sustainability Committee, which is an ad hoc committee that was set up by the Town Council to integrate their mission into the Conservation Commission. So a little bit of background on this. This was brought to my attention a few months ago and to the manager's attention through the staff liaisons, Jamie Rabbit, as well as Mark Russo, that membership of these committees had been dwindling and that there seemed to be a lot of overlap in the mission. And so one of the advocates for this was Matt Bradywood, who's the chair of the Conservation Commission, who will soon be vacating his post there, but thought it would be a good idea to merge these two entities, seemingly for staff efficiency for one, but also just mutual goals and sort of bolstering the membership onto the CONCOM. About a month ago, I met with the Sustainability Committee and made just to verify that they were on board as well. They were, and there was a few members. They have some attrition as well, but they do have a few members that would be willing and ready to jump over to the CONCOM once this takes effect. So you'll notice in the resolution, there's a 3-month period that we'd give preference to a Sustainability Committee member. I have talked to the clerk to try to get the applications in and processed at an upcoming meeting, so that way we could staff up the CONCOM and have one full committee mission and ready to go.
All right. Any questions for Luke on this? And Mike Ursillo, we have the authority to just pass this right now?
You do.
All right.
It's by resolution, it's not an ordinance.
Okay.
In that mind, thank you to the Sustainability Committee. Motion to approve item 9G.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? I will state, according to the resolution that we pass, members of the Sustainability Committee will have preference or given priority for appointment to the Conservation Commission, provided they submit their application within 3 months of now, which is the date that we are terminating or merging the two groups. All right, any further discussion? Go ahead.
Will someone explain what the sustainability membership needs to do to transfer over?
Sure. Just like they normally would to apply to any board or commission, they should download the application, fill it out. I believe it's a one-pager. And they would come before this council for appointment at a future meeting. And like I said, we'll make sure we accommodate them, get them on for an appointment.
All right, any other questions, comments? All right, we have a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. Thank you, Luke. Jamie Rabbit, come on up.
Good evening and thank you. I want to say the simple request that we have this evening before you is the acceptance of Magnolia Lane. We already did Michaela a while ago, but Magnolia Lane. And then a call to order for a public hearing to set a stop sign at Magnolia Lane and Oak Street. This is a subdivision that's been around since the late 60s, early 70s. Wilson and Tarn was its original name. It's taken almost 50 years to build that project out in various scenarios. So that road has been reviewed by the Department of Public Service. We do have correspondence in our file from Rich Burberdays with no issues associated with accepting it into the town's road system.
All right, any questions for Jamie? Go ahead.
I don't think it's for Jamie, I think it's for Mike, but just, can you walk us through the town accepting the road from the developer, given the history that we've had for the last 3 years?
There are only really a couple of ways that a town can accept a road, or a road becomes part of a town's roadway system that it maintains. One is dedicated through public use, means the public has to use the road consistently over a period of 20 years without signs that say private right-of-way, et cetera, et cetera. The other and more accepted way of doing it, beginning in the middle to late 40s, is to actually have a developer or a group of citizens come to you and ask that the road be accepted into the town's publicly maintained road system. And in order for that to happen, that road has to meet all of the then in existence standards for a roadway as adopted by the planning board. Obviously, in this case, with this developer and this development, that standard has been met. But if there are any other citizens in town who live on a road that's currently not a public road, but want you to consider accepting it, they go through the process through Rich Bourbonnet's office to bring that road up to subdivision standards, and then you can consider it. That's not the case here because it went a different route, but just in terms of explanation, that's how roads are accepted.
Motion to approve item 9H and I.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Right, that passes. Thank you, Jamie. It's now going to bring us to the town manager's report.
There's only one item on the town manager's report. An email went out to the town council, and we discussed it at one of the last meetings. So the planning director has requested that if the council approves, he could schedule a work session on the form-based code for Old Tower Hill Road, which has been a topic of discussion for quite a while. So he has 3 dates that he'd like to present to the council. As long if the council agrees on any given date, we can schedule a form-based code for a work session. So Jamie, you want to go over those dates one more time, please?
Yes, so thank you, Mr. Manny. Again, I want to say it's a relatively simple request. Again, it's asking you for a few hours of your time. We realize that time is precious, but this is one of the few remaining steps to take before the planning board recommends to the council for you to adopt the regulation, which requires a public hearing. But in discussions with the planning board and our consultant, Able City East, Jason and Pam King, they thought it would be very advisable if they came up and spent an early evening with you to go over again the basis for the form-based code, why the community asked for the form-based code, and what are the regulatory kind of highlights and lowlights of the form-based code, and potentially the questions that we're anticipating and already have received from some of the members within the zone, and how they feel, and we as a department feel, some of those questions have been answered from some regulatory changes within the code. And again, receive your input. This is an initiative that started well before I was here as your planning director. We've been working with Able City East for the last year and 6 months. We're close to the finish line now, but again, we didn't feel that it was pertinent to go straight to a public hearing without having the town council fully informed and have the ability for you to ask the consultants questions. I'm sure you've received questions from your constituents, and having the opportunity to have those questions and discussions with the consultant, I think is advantageous, because we can still make changes pre-public hearing, and then even post-public hearing, if there's a revision, you could always conditionally approve with some modifications to that. One of the biggest questions we've received so far is, when will I be required or mandated to do a mixed-use development if I'm just renovating my property? And again, we're working through the scenarios associated with that, whether it's a financial trigger or a square footage trigger, but those are the primary questions we're receiving in our department.
So, Jamie, what dates?
So we have 3 dates that our consultant is available. They're all Thursdays. It would be February 12th. That's the second Thursday of the month. February 19th. third Thursday of the month, or February 26th, which is the fourth Thursday of the month.
I cannot do the 12th.
I like the 26th.
Is this going to cost us any more money for them to come up?
No, it is all part of our initial contract with Able City East, so we are well within budget. The only aspect that I may, we have it with regards to funding, is Sean Bourget, who was the financial expert used. We've had some discussions with Able City East to potentially have him do 1 or 2 more properties within the district to run that financial analysis of existing zoning versus form-based code zoning and what the implications of that are on the financial side from a tax basis and tax return.
I have to be, perfectly honest. I think that the work that was done does not really resemble what I imagine South Kingstown to look like. It looks like a Florida project. And I don't know how we're going to get to something that looks like South Kingstown. I just am really concerned about this because I keep hearing from property owners in that area that are not on board with the way this looks like could be anywhere in Florida to me as a former Floridian. That's just the way that I feel. I'm not comfortable with what they've proposed, and I don't know how much more money I'm going to want to spend. I'm just putting it out there.
Good.
I do believe we received a letter from a property owner and their attorney regarding the...
Yes.
Am I?
It was, a
Okay.
big letter.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the one where Bank of America is, et cetera.
Mhm.
Yes.
We did get that. You did get that letter.
Okay.
Objecting.
And what's that word?
Objecting.
That
Objecting.
individual has gone on the record with our department and our consultant that they will oppose any zoning change in that district that affects them financially. Any change, conventional, form-based, any change
Okay.
that they feel affects them financially.
So I want to just follow with Patty. I think that there were some good pieces in that, and I think there was some good discussion. I regret that Pete DiStefano has stepped away in some ways, because I liked some of the things he said, in terms of like things to consider, and I think that was important, and that voice will be missed. But I do think the form-based code, I think there are pieces that are good. We talked about, as I recall, not having the building so high. We thought maybe 4 stories was too high, right? We looked at different things and we didn't like that. I think the corner where it looks like it's a shopping mall at the Pocono, Coconut Grove place, I hear you. I don't, and it's not likely to, none of this is going to happen in a day or
Yeah,
even
but these
5
are going to
years.
attract huge corporations that are going to come in and buy it up and build it up, just like they've envisioned for Florida.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm afraid. We're a gold mine here. We set all this up, and you're going to have every hedge fund in the country wanting to develop here. And that might be how they do it in Florida, but it's not South Kingstown.
Good.
So I think specifically about this, I'm in favor of the 26th, right? That's a Thursday, Jamie?
Correct.
And you'd want it at 7 o'clock?
The earlier we're looking at a 2-hour window. So if you could start at 6 and we could go 6 to 8, that would work. If 7 works better, 6:30.
What about 7 to 9?
Working at your
6 is
pleasure.
good. I think earlier
6 is not preferable.
for you.
So
Just
I
for
think
you.
we cut down the middle. We call it 6:30 to 8:30. I think that's a compromise. We typically start at 6:30.
Take it.
And additionally, just want to make comment on this. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the new proposals that this company that we hired brings to us. The last time this proposal that they had, they were, the post office was developed into a 3-story building on their proposal. And so I'm looking forward to their updates, to hear from that. You can hear some positive things here and some negative things about it, but I'm looking forward to the meeting on the 26th, Jamie.
Our goal is to get feedback from you and the public so that revisions can be contemplated, potentially made, so that you're comfortable with the regulatory changes.
I like the purple building. The guy made several comments about the purple building not being whatever. I happen to like the purple building on Main Street.
So,
The existing one, we want it to look like Wakefield's.
will the planning board be included in this, or is it just a town council meeting, 6:30 to 8:30?
So the intent would be primarily a discussion with the council. They've met with the planning board a number of times and
Okay.
had conversations with them, but my understanding and my previous experience with the town council is that you would want both the planning board, the Affordable Housing Collaborative, as well as the Economic Development Committee invited to this meeting also.
Sure.
Yes. So they'll be invited to come to the meeting,
And
but
speak.
not as, like, it would be difficult to have, 20 people around listening to a speaker with a time limit of 2 hours and trying to get and foster out everyone's, concerns, questions.
Yeah.
It really should be with the council and inviting members of those committees. And if they have opportunity to speak or ask questions, we'll have them come up at that time.
No, and again, my goal and the consultant's goal is to have that discussion with you to understand where you are coming from, the feedback you've received, and any hesitations or concerns you have about the way the regulation is written today. We can modify the standards associated with architecture, we can change the height of buildings, but if you do not do something, you will get more of what you've already had. You will get a gas station with 10 pumps. You will get 3 more fast food restaurants. That's what will occur with no architectural standards and no other design provisions whatsoever other than landscaping.
You'll also get, it's not Cube Smart anymore, it's South Storage by Staples. It looks like a concrete square, but if you went to Westerly, there's a self-storage there and it looks like a shingle-style house and it's very pretty. So we can't change what happened, but that's a good example of we could
Why we should.
tweak. Right,
Right.
exactly. And then just to follow up, I'm happy to meet on the 26th. Can you just resend or reactivate in our
Send a link.
the link for the report? Because I thought we were actually waiting for some revisions. I feel like Rory asked, like, when are we going to get the final? And you were like, I'm still working on it. And maybe that was
So
months ago.
what we've discussed with our consultant is we have the initial draft, and with the planning board, every time we had a meeting and there was a suggested change,
Yeah.
we didn't go back to the original and constantly change on the fly. What we have is a list of potential changes that the planning board will make recommendations to the council to modify the initial draft. So we'll use that example. If the planning board has 10 recommendations and the council has 5 more, there would be a total of 15 revisions proposed to the initial draft.
Okay.
Versus constantly, what did you change this month? What did you change this week?
So what would you send us, the original
We
draft?
would send you the original and an outline of changes. We're going to discuss
Perfect.
those changes tomorrow night at a planning board meeting. The primary aspect with the changes for the planning board are they modified a transect zone, which is a transitional zone between Stedman's Bike Shop and Citizens Bank. Mostly that's historic residential developed homes that have converted into businesses over the years, so they want to maintain that as kind of that vernacular scale versus a larger scale of the intersection of Old Tower Hill and Kingston Road. So they modified that already.
Who's proposing that? Was that?
That came out of a discussion between the department, our consultant, and the planning board.
Planning board, okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, the last thing that the council received from you was in September with a July 18, 2025, public draft report.
That's
That
the
was
one we've been working off of,
Okay,
yes.
but I mean, that is the latest thing that the council's received.
Correct. That's the base document, so we're not making revisions on a monthly basis to that document.
And you'll provide us with a document outlining the planning board's recommended changes?
Yes, we'll have an outline format.
You'll provide that to us prior to the meeting on the 26th?
Absolutely.
All right.
Do you think you could get it to us sooner than, like, 2 days ahead of time?
We'll try and do that a week in advance.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jamie. That concludes the manager's report, Jim? All right, thank you. That's now going to move us to item 11, public hearings. Sven, James, you guys been waiting a while. Come on up. A is a public hearing relative to a renewal of an indoor shooting range license in accordance with the South Kingstown Town Code, Chapter 9, Licenses and Miscellaneous Business Regulation, Article 6, Indoor Shooting Ranges, Section 9-158, Term of License, Renewal, Transfer Application by IDGR 15 LLC, doing business as Elite Indoor Gun Range by Mark A. Fay, member, for property located at 371 Rose Hill Road, Wakefield, Rhode Island, 02879, and designated as Assessor's Plot 33, Lot 30, consisting of 121.57 acres. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, we know this is pretty routine.
Eighth year.
How's business going? What's going on over there? Anything new? Anything cool? Fill us in.
Yeah, we're just going into our 8th year. We try and continually improve operations. Seems to be going that way. Everyone's having a good time. We brought in three new police departments to train with us. We're now hosting East Providence, Newport, and North Kingstown.
Nice.
In addition to the ones we're hosting already.
All right. Any questions?
It's more of a comment. Sven, you're a South Kingstown guy through and through, and
I have grown up. I love it here.
I know, and I just want to say congratulations on all the great work you do for our town.
Thank
you support our veterans, you support our police departments around here, and as someone that's known you for probably 30 plus years now, I'm very proud of you. So
Thank you.
just want to let you know that.
I appreciate it.
Any other questions or comments from council members? Go ahead.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to take a tour of your facility, and I want to say that it is really nice. I really like the lockers that you have, and I like it seems like you have a very strict policies regarding, like when the weapons are locked up, and you have a beautiful facility for, hanging out, but it's nice to know that you maintain it safely. So I just want to say that.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so this is a public hearing. So anyone in the audience who wishes to speak or comment on this item, I invite you to come on up. All right, seeing none, do I hear a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the public hearing is now closed. Do I hear a motion on item 11A?
Motion to approve item 11A.
Second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. You guys are all set?
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, it's now going to move us to item 11B, a public hearing relative to proposed amendments to the Town Code, Chapter 9, Licenses and Miscellaneous Business Regulations, Article 9, Short-Term Rentals, as shown on Exhibit 2 attached here 2. This is essentially to repeal the short-term rental registration ordinance that we passed maybe a year ago.
That is exactly right, because of course you have now amended the zoning ordinance to provide for a rental registration ordinance which was not limited to short-term. Now that that's in place, we need to repeal this one, and maybe Jamie has more.
Yeah, that's correct. I believe it was the Superior Court judge's decision that rendered this non-enforceable. So to avoid any confusion with the other rental registration which was enacted, this should be repealed. And happy to answer any questions you have.
All right. Any questions, comments? Go ahead.
I guess I just wanted to check. What we're talking about in item 11B is the one that we originally passed that was affected by the court decision.
That's right. What we did is, after it was passed, there was a decision by the Superior Court which basically ruled the only legal way, in the court's opinion, to adopt rental registrations ordinances was through the zoning ordinance, not through a standalone regular ordinance. So what we did is we advised the administration not to enforce this until we adopted our own new one in the zoning ordinance.
And that's what I wanted to just get to, was there are two exhibits attached to the agenda, and it can look a little confusing.
It is confusing because the zoning ordinance amendment that you did adopt, there's a need to make some changes to that. Earlier in the evening, you approved an item for an order of public notice that will take place on the zoning ordinance amendment. With those changes, there will be a full public hearing on that at a future date. This one is simply to repeal the old one that was on hold due to the Superior Court. And again, the main difference is that old one that was basically nullified by the Superior Court involved short-term, meaning 30 days or less. It was never enforced. We need to take it off our books. The new one that you adopted is for any rental. And it just so happens, coincidentally, we are going to need to make some amendments to that, but that won't be this evening.
So just for the sake of the public, what we're repealing is identified as Exhibit 2 to the agenda.
That is correct. Exhibit 2 is what's being repealed, and it's shown with everything in it crossed through.
Thanks.
If I could add one thing, there has been some bumps in the road with the new rental registration where we had to extend the deadline. One of the reasons was that there was some confusion with the short-term rental ordinance, which is on the books, which is the one you're repealing. So just, I hope many people hear it. We're doing a social media campaign and other stuff to get it going. There is a rental registration in this town. It was passed on October 14th. We're in the process of registering there are applications alive. You can get an application to fill out. If you can't do it yourself, come in and we have a portal set up with a computer specific to that, and a member will help you. But those that currently have signed up for the short-term rentals, it's being repealed, but you must file an application to register any rental in this town. So we'll be putting out more information on that. That was one of the reasons why, because of this being still in place with the other ordinance, there was some confusion.
Thank you, Jim. All right, this is a public hearing, so anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on this, I invite you to come on up. All right, seeing none, do I hear a motion? Oh, come on up, Lori. I know you had issues with the short-term rental registration. Here you go, we're repealing it. Oh, just turn the mic on.
Understand what the purpose of the registration is.
Well, there's a public hearing on that at a subsequent meeting. That's when we'd really entertain those type of questions.
Oh, you said, does anybody have questions?
This is on repealing the short-term rental registration ordinance.
Okay. No questions on it.
All right. Do I hear a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing.
All right, we have a motion. I'll second it. We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, the public hearing is now closed. Do I hear a motion on item 11B?
Motion to approve item 11B.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, that passes. It's now going to bring us back to public comments. Anyone in the audience who hasn't spoken yet who wishes to speak, I invite you to come on up. All right. Any comments, thoughts from council members? Go ahead.
Can I ask a question about I'm looking through the email responses to the rental registration, and I just have a question, and maybe I'm misremembering. Didn't we, when we talked about the rental registration program, didn't we talk about having the schedule of fees separate so that we could modify them without going to a public hearing?
Yes.
But that didn't happen, and when
Well, it happened subsequently, so that's why the amendment addresses that.
What happened? Because we talked about it in the public hearing to putting it out so it would be easier for the council. We wouldn't have to do these public hearings in order of notice. I thought that's what we talked about. No?
So I'll go back and look at the minutes, but regardless, it is not in there presently. It is in Exhibit 1, which is the exhibit which sets forth the changes in the rental registration ordinance, and on page 2 of that ordinance in section 553, which says fee, it does say the fee schedule would be established by town council resolution. But that is not in the current ordinance.
Why not?
I don't recall if we even deliberated over that on that night.
Patty nodded, and he just said we did.
I mean, we'd have to go back and watch the tape as to what passed.
Yeah, what we spent a lot of time on at that meeting was the amount of the fee. We kept going back and forth on the amount of the fee, but again, I personally don't recall you all deciding, hey, let's not put any fee in the ordinance at all, let's do it by resolution. That definitely came up subsequently, which is why we're now putting it in. But it did not make it into what you adopted that night back in October.
I'll have to rewatch that because I feel like that was a conversation point, and it didn't make a lot of conversation because we all agreed it sort of made sense to not go back through the order of notice and then have a public hearing to adjust the fees.
It's about what passed. It's not about what we talked about.
Right, but I think
yeah. But you know, even
I'll have to go back.
Yeah, even if that was said, it definitely didn't make it in there, which is why we're recommending an amendment now. And we tried
Is what you're talking about, Deb, addressed in it now, or?
In the amendment.
It will be.
It will be in the amendment.
For
You're
whatever
just wondering
reason,
why it wasn't.
I'm pretty sure it was a conversation and we were like, yes, and so then when we were revising, it was always understood that it was going to be written as a schedule of fees. I was there, but maybe I'll rewatch the tape and go back through it
Well,
again.
is it fixed now? Is it okay now?
No,
it will be.
It will be.
It will be.
It will
All
be,
right.
but what was
Okay.
discussed in
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
So you'll notice 5 things that I've addressed in that email that Councilmember Wedgemont asked 9 questions, and one of them was that. So it's really not mistakes. We didn't know about this stuff until after the application went live on December 10th. People were calling with questions that we never envisioned would have asked or would have become an issue. So out of an abundance of caution, that's why we're putting it back on the agenda at a public hearing to amend those 5 things. Some are very minor, some more substantial. The one with the schedule of fees is a little more substantial, but it'll all be cleaned up. Let's do it right from the beginning and move on.
For what it's worth, Mike, my recollection of the discussion was that we did set the fee, but also wanted language included in there that it is subject to change by future council so that we wouldn't have to do a public hearing to amend the ordinance every time. I'm not sure that is reflected in this, but it can be cleaned up.
I agree with the Vice President, because we did set the schedule of fees that day because we argued about it for an hour.
Or more.
And so I've asked many questions. I won't follow up more questions tonight, but I do have a concern about when this council schedules something and then it doesn't translate into ordinance.
All right, so in addition to the amendments that are outlined in this order of notice, we can take up any additional potential ambiguities that we identify here, correct?
Yep, and we'll go back and look at the minutes.
All right. Now we're going to move on to communications. Item 11A, Dorothy, come on up. An email dated January 5, 2026 from Dorothy Hill, Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Chair, concerning a request for additional funding towards the town's pavement management program for pedestrian and bicyclist enhancements. Dorothy, welcome.
Hi, thanks. So when I joined BPAC about 4 years ago, we kept hearing about this $350,000 bond that was going to be used for pedestrian safety. We were thinking infrastructure. And this is incredible. This is wonderful that Department of Public Services is asking for funding to help move some of these projects along, using engineering services and then also using some of the funds for actual implementation of whatever safety features they find. And so, as you guys know, these, and you've been looking at big $1 million projects, this is $350,000, but we wanted to make sure that the funds were used in the way that they were intended with the bond, with the original bond. And as Rich can tell you, and this money is not going to go far, but we want to make sure that it's used for tangible things. We understand that already $50,000 has been used for some of the study on Kersey Road. And we would like to see BPAC that a large portion of the 350 bond that's remaining be used for things like the rectangular rapid beacons for crossings, for signage, for striping, for actual tangible things that are going to make safety enhancements for pedestrians and bicyclists. So that was my letter. I just want to make sure that the funds are being used as intended, and I trust that they will be. But I don't think we want to see more study and study and study. I think we do need engineering. We're 100% behind engineering studies for safety enhancements. But we want to actually see the funding for the safety enhancements that are decided on. So what do you feel on that?
Let's
does that
bring
sound
Rich
reasonable?
Burbonnais right on up here. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Jim, you want to chime in?
Well, I'll turn over to Rich in a minute, but we were very disappointed to learn that we did not get any of that Safe Streets for All money. And that is for the really most of the state. Very little went. 19,000 in Newport, 60,000 North Kingston. We were hoping for about $3 million. And we had major plans for these safety improvements on our Main Street and other areas of the town. Stop signs, crosswalks, sidewalks, you name it. We were hoping for it. It's on hold until the next round, which is a year from now. So we had the best of intentions, but we didn't get the funds. And I'll turn over to you, Rich.
So if you remember, I think it was last week, I was here and we talked about capital, and there was I believe it was $112,000 that we allocated to engineering, and it would do, I think, exactly what you're discussing, and it's more direct than saying study. It's actually looking at what we have and what we can do, and then perhaps bringing on in a sort of a retainage fashion an engineer that can help us so that when we get these requests, we can vet them properly and implement them. And then there was another $200,000 that we were going to pull aside that was going to be specific to implementation of some of those low-cost improvements that the BPAC has been requesting. So,
all right, that sounds pretty good. So is that within the next 2 fiscal years, or?
Yeah, it could be. Let us get an engineer on board, and then we'll have a better timeline. But we could be looking. This is what it was requested in the 26-27 budget. So we'd be looking at sometime, in the spring to be soliciting for an engineer on those types of projects.
All right.
Jim, I know that when we were talking about the bike path being reopened at night, we talked to RIDOT and the director, and they were offering to do some of that work for us. Are these kind of in alignment of some of the same things? I know what you're talking about is a very different thing, but they're concentric circles of addressing pedestrian and issues in South Kingstown. So are those kind of in the
Not
same-
really.
No?
So that, there is money set aside specifically for bike paths that in, past years, and there's still some of that money in funds at the Rhode Island Department of Transportation. So they're still looking at it, working on it, and, we did express our request for lighting the stop signs that are automatically start really flashing, like down Mumford School, down Mumford Road, I believe it is, down Narragansett. So that's a separate ask that we had, that the state already had that money. I think what Ms. Hill was talking about was the stuff we had hoped to do in the future for, if we had gotten money from that grant. So we are working on that.
Thank you.
And so these funds, and what we're talking about is in the capital improvement plan budget. So when Rich has outlined the roads that are in the pavement management program, this is additional funding. So we've got the pavement money. When we find out which roads and when they're going to be worked on, that is the perfect time then to bring in and find out if residents feel that there are particular safety issues that can be then looked at, and engineering dollars be spent to try to figure out how to solve those, and then money to actually solve those problems. So this is all really part of the capital improvement plan budget.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Dorothy.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
Thanks, Rich.
I just wanted to point out to the public that if you are interested in joining the good work that Dorothy is doing on the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, there are spots open, as well as our other committees. Please apply. If you are interested in safe biking, walking, and driving in South Kingstown, apply today.
All right, that's going to bring us to the end here. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. We have a motion, second. Any discussion?